Good day, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another review because I've just read Hamilcar, Champion of the Gods by David Guymer. Champion of the Gods follows a Stormcast Eternal from the Astral Templar storm host called Hamilcar Beareater. But of course, you've already heard all about him. After all, anyone knows Hamilcar, the greatest hero of the realms. Or at least that is what he calls himself. I'm going to be honest here so you know what to expect. Hamilcar is a Caiaphas Cain book set in Age of Sigmar. The author even says that much himself in the afterword. The only real difference is that Hamilcar lacks the self-doubt and humility of Cain, and that Hamilcar is way too arrogant to have someone else tell a story for him, so he tells it himself. Regardless, in this tale he crosses paths with a jet-lagged Ikit. See, Ikit has somehow managed to survive the end of times, but he isn't in the best of ways. He has lost most of his memories, for some reason he has pissed off the entire Skaven race, and his body is giving out. In other words, Fabius Bile is also in this novel. Anyways, Ikit steals a part of Hamilcar's soul, and in doing so corrupts the holy work of Sigmar, so it is up to Hamilcar to stop the mad warlock and reclaim his soul. And if you want to know whether he manages to do so, you have to read this book for yourself. Like its 40k counterpart, the best part of these type of novels is the utterly unhinged humor. With Cain it often comes in the form of all the weird shenanigans and comments from the man himself. In this book, however, the humor comes mostly from the outside world. Guymer has always been great in terms of creative world building that isn't afraid to expand from the established codices without really breaking the lore. Here he uses his talent to his advantage by infusing it with some truly absurd streaks of humor. Just to give an example, Sigmar's reforging process removes a lot of the basic emotions from his lightning bitches. After all, he wouldn't want his pristine warriors to spend all their time drinking, gambling and fucking themselves into oblivion. With Ikit stealing part of Hamilcar's soul, this all starts to fade away, and Hamilcar starts to feel the thirst of centuries of celibacy. I mean, it kinda makes sense lore-wise, but what a move to actually get that published in a Black Library book. However, despite all the bullshittery, this novel actually explores some more serious themes in regards to the reforging process and the way Sigmar handles the Stormcast. In many ways, this book is the spiritual prequel to the recently released 4th edition trailer. We get to see the darker side of the process with the inhuman pragmatic streaks of the Emperor, Sigmar, shining through. We see how little is left of each Stormcast, even after their first reforging, and how much worse this can get over time. Entire lives filled with so many memories removed to make place for the fury of the lightning. And just like with how Cain's empathy makes him special amongst his commissars, Hamilcar's humanity and flaws make him so divisive amongst the Stormcast. The people love him and would follow him into death, but the Stormcast consider his mingling with the people annoying at best, and most hate him and consider him an arrogant clown. I also like how this novel attaches a personality to many of the major storm hosts. Sure, they are often ridiculized and Hamilcar tends to exaggerate them a little bit, but by seeing these memes, you do get a really good idea of what the basic idea of each stormhost is. There's the immovable imperishables of the Anvils of Heldenhammer. They're boomers to the max, extremely potent defenders, and this book even reveals that Cetra joined them. Or the Knights Merciless, great magically gifted warriors, but utter psychopaths, for whom the Celestial Vindicators check under their bed. So I think that for people looking to get into Stormcast Eternals, this is a great book to pique your interest, especially combined with the fact that it also explores some of the flaws and issues related to the reforging process. All of that being said, there's one major thing that does annoy me about this book, and that is Guymer's prose. Now, in his more recent books he has definitely improved, but this isn't one of these. In this 2019 book, Guymer still has a tendency to write as if he speaks Latin instead of English. What I mean by that is that he often writes sentences that are about 5 times as long as you would like them to be, with dependent clauses nested within dependent clauses, very reminiscent of what you get if you've ever translated Latin. As long as there's a lot of dialogue going on, Guymer doesn't do this, but whenever we go into descriptive territory, the readability becomes a bit frustrating. The plot of the novel is quite good and has a lot of twists and turns, and I do really mean the latter. I rarely had the idea I could predict what would happen next, and this novel is down to get freaky. Sadly, I can't give examples for spoiler reasons, but I can guarantee you won't find this novel predictable. The final highlight is the side characters. Sure, Hamilcar would agree that he himself is the main character, but that doesn't mean that there isn't space in his tale for other great characters. Ikit is menacing, yet also weirdly empathetic. There's a wicked plant lady who must have been birthed from a carnivorous plant. The various Stormcasts all have distinct personalities and quirks that make them stand out. We get to explore an entire kingdom of bird people, and there's even an Age of Sigmar version of Jurten. So, all in all, Hamilcar gets 4 to 5 warding lanterns. Hamilcar is an hilarious introduction to the various storm hosts that also showcases their darker side. It is filled with absurd humor and a lovely group of wacky, interesting characters. The writing style could use some work, and I can't say that ripping off Caiaphas Cain gets you any originality points, but I can't argue with the results, and this is definitely a recommendation for Stormcast enthusiasts, Redmen, and those who like their novels a touch lighter than Dead Man Walking. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and click ringing the bell to appease the Great Horned Rat. For more lore content, please check my main channel and leave any book recommendations in the comments down below. I gotta get back to reading the next book.